In baseball, they play what's called walk-up music as a batter approaches home plate. The music often reflects the personality of the batter. I think walk-up music is cool, and I felt like today would be the only time in my life I could use walk-up music for anything. Now, I don't know how many other commencement speeches have begun or ever will begin with walk-up music, but this one did. Message number one, sometimes you just have to go for it. In my defense, the song, Wade in the Water, was played before every Bonnie men's home basketball game my 4 years here. It served two purposes. One, it got the players revved up, ready to go. And two, same thing for the fans, and I'm really hopeful it has the same impact on all of you, because let's be honest. I know what I did the night before I graduated from this magical place, and let's just say I was not in bed by 10 p.m. Dr. Roth, Board of Trustees, administration, faculty, family, friends, and most especially all of you, the class of 2017, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be here today to celebrate your special day with all of you, and it is your day. Though that very cool and way over the top honorary degree thing, was kind of neat. It still is your day, especially because for the first time in the history of this institution, you got to choose your speaker. And you chose me, a decision for which I will always be grateful and humbled. Why you made that decision is a matter of some debate in many circles. I know there are people who I graduated with many years ago who still can't believe I'm standing at this podium right now. Had you known me then, you'd understand why. But I say today is not a day for you all to look back in the past with regret upon decisions made. I say today for all of you is a day to look forward with confidence and hope and vigor, and I believe it is my job to begin to help you do that here this morning. You are all in your early 20s. I am most decidedly not, but I remember the very many mixed emotions I had when I sat where you are now. I was happy, because why not? I'm graduating college. It's a big deal. There's going to be a party. It's awesome. But I was sad because I was leaving people I had grown to love and a place I had grown to love and called home, and still do. I was confident because I received a wonderful education here, and I felt like I was ready for whatever was to come. But I was also a little apprehensive and a little uncertain because I would have to start all over again in a brand new place with brand new people, and also because I had no job. I did, however, have an amazingly impressive stack of rejection letters that grew every day. Had there been an America's Least Wanted back then, I surely would have been the winner. That's just what I thought. And I thought back to that moment in my life where you are now as I thought about what I might do here today. Many of you know I was a journalism mass comm major here in what is now the Jandoli School of Communications. It's been a pillar of this institution for a long time. I believe its best days are ahead of it. But Jandoli and Evans and Trevartin, now Eamon, and many other wonderful professors taught me how to become a storyteller, how to write, how to think, how to communicate. And I've been a storyteller on behalf of ESPN for the better part of these last 38 years, its business and its people. And so as I thought about what I should do here today, I thought, and I pondered, and I thought, and then finally it came to me, hey, maybe I should just tell stories. Because, I have an uncanny ability to see very clearly what is right there in front of me. It's a gift, really. And so that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to tell stories, but not just any stories. Curious George and the electric fence, not going to tell that story. That one ends badly. It's not appropriate for this proceeding. Instead, I propose to tell you stories that actually did happen to me, and that from which I received some learnings that have helped me in my journey in life, and perhaps there's something in these stories that might help you and yours. And the very first story started in this very building 38 years ago in February, up in that now never-used press box. And because it happened, I'm now sitting here at this podium, and I'll pay that off in a minute. But it was a homecoming weekend. We were playing Villanova. We won. Last second shot, 1-2. I was a student sports information assistant for Tom McElroy. Tommy was an early mentor of mine. And I only got that gig because Mike Ryan, a friend of mine, recommended me to Tom. And that's when I first learned that Bonnie people stick together and help one another, and you should know that too. At any rate, my work is done. I look down, I see Western New York's largest cocktail party about ready to begin. Here come the tables, here come the kegs. My friends are lining up. There's some beer, there's gonna be beer. And so I look to my right and I see poor Ted Wolf. Ted was the SID at Villanova. Several daily newspapers in Philly at the time, not one came to Olean in February. Go figure. At any rate, he's struggling to make deadlines, and I'm thinking a good angel, bad angel conversation begins inside my head. The good angel said, hey man, you go help that guy? He might help you find a job. You graduate in May. The bad angel said, well, yeah, but we won, and there's beer. So this goes on inside my head, raging inside my head for about 30 seconds, felt like 30 minutes. Help the guy, maybe get a job. We won, there's beer. I helped Ted, and it was the best decision I ever made because in many respects it helped dictate the course of the rest of my life. And the takeaway from that story that I want to share with you today is simply this. Be purposeful in everything you do. Be purposeful in everything you do. You never know what decisions you make today, what impact they'll have on you tomorrow or for the rest of your life. Flash forward, it's May. I call Ted. Ted, I have no job. He said, well, there's an assistant SID job open at Brown University. Rosa Gaddy, my former boss, is hiring. You should apply. So I did. I was one of 179 people to do so, and I was the one who got the job. One of the reasons was because I was the only one of the 179 who helped Ted. And I had a good resume, I interviewed well, but here's what, I didn't know about this till like a year later. Here's what sealed it for me. Rosa Gaddy, who later became a major mentor of mine in my life as well, had someone at Brown called Billy Cowball, the assistant coach at Bonnie's. Never in a million years would I have asked Billy to be a reference of mine. It would have been way too presumptuous on my part. But this guy calls Billy because Rosa wants the real deal on this LaPlaca kid. So Cowbell gets on the phone. He goes, oh, you got to hire that guy. We love him here. Hard worker, knows the game. You're making a huge mistake if you don't do it. That sealed it. And the takeaway for me, I learned it that day when I learned it, like a year afterwards. You are always being judged. Someone is always watching you. Maybe that someone will help you get to where you want to go someday. Make sure they like what they see. Make sure they like what they see. Now, 9 months later, Rosa gets hired to be the first communications lead at ESPN. She takes me with her a week later. Now, again, let's be honest. If I'm not working at ESPN these past 38 years, do you even know who I am? Do you invite me to be here today to celebrate this day with you? The answers are likely no and no. And so that's how a decision I made 38 years ago landed me here at this very moment. Now, flash forward, early days of ESPN. We're doing the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies in Cooperstown, New York. Bowie Kuhn is the baseball commissioner, and he's on a media blackout. He's mad about something. I don't remember what it was. Our guy, George Grand, the founding father of ESPN, gets an interview. This is big news. It's going to help maybe put ESPN on the map. Now, does George email me, text me, or call me on my cell phone? No. This will boggle your mind, but none of that had been invented yet. I am that old. It's sad. I didn't even want to tell that story. But he physically finds me in Cooperstown, New York. We run to the truck. A 1-inch tape rolls round and round and round on the back of the truck. I'm furiously scribbling down the notes. Now I've got to go type up this interview. So I'm running down Cooperstown, Main Street. First store I see, J.J. Newberry. I burst in. The only other person in the store is she's an older lady, very sweet. I said, ma'am, do you have a typewriter we can use? She says, yes, I do. So I run to the back of the store, and she comes behind me. I said, by any chance, do you have a copy machine? She said, well, no, we don't. I said, well, how about this? Do you have carbon paper? She goes, well, yes, we do. Now, some of you, carbon paper, what's that? Here it is. It's a piece of paper with ink on one side. You put it between two pieces of white paper, and you can make a copy of what you type. Unbelievable technology in the early 80s. So I type up the interview. Now I've got to run. I got to find the guy from AP and the guy from UPI, the two major wire services. Next day, headlines all across the country. ESPN gets Kuhn to speak. Yay! What's ESPN? No one knew. this was a building block for our company. One of the many things we did early on to kind of make a name for ourselves. I needed to make this moment happen. And you're going to find some days where you really want to work hard. You need to make something happen too. And I tell you that story because of this. There is always a way. You just have to find it. Flash forward several years. Backstage at the ESPYs, MGM Grand Las Vegas. Me, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, the quintessential which doesn't belong and why. Listen, I played high school basketball. Not once in my career did the coach ever call an offensive play designed for me to shoot. The only time I was on ice skates on a public rink, I was asked to leave. The combination of complete humiliation and total relief clouds my memory, but I think it had something to do with the safety of the other skaters. So there we are, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and me. They had just come off the stage, our sports award show, big moment for us. They said they would go to the press room. A lot of national media, we're going to extend the moment, another brand building moment for ESPN that I needed to make happen. We get to the press room, someone's already in there, and the conversations are going very well. Now I'm going to have to ask these two guys who wait for nothing to wait. They were very gracious, very cool guys at that moment. Mike was calm. Wayne, a little agitated, a little uncertain, very unassuming superstar. And I said, Wayne, what's up? He goes, they don't really want to hear from me. They're here to see Mike. I think I'm going back to my seat. Now that's panic city for me because I'm going to lose the moment. So I had to do something drastic, and I did something I had never done before in a similar setting. Instead of acting like these guys were international superstars and total strangers to me, I decided I would be authentically me and pretend that they were my best friends in life and I'd known them since kindergarten. And I looked Wayne Gretzky right in the eye because I could. He wasn't that tall. I said, Wayne, you're the only dude in the building whose nickname is the Great One. I think they're going to want to hear from you. Well, Jordan starts to laugh. Wayne calms down. The guy in the press room finally ends his conversation. I swear to you, the sun came out at that exact moment, even though we were indoors and it was nighttime in Vegas. And the takeaway for me, that story is simply this. Authenticity wins every time. If you're cool, you're Bonnie grads. Of course you're cool. If you're still awake, you recognize by now the important role sports has played in my life. The lessons learned through sports had helped my mom and my dad, my two heroes in life, build not just a wonderful family, but a successful business. By the way, today's Mother's Day. Mom, I love you very much. You've always been an inspiration to me. So I'm not with you today. The one sport I haven't talked about yet, though, is football. And in football, there's such a thing as called a 2-minute drill. A 2-minute drill is a series of quick-hitting plays designed to successfully navigate your team through the conclusion of the game. Congratulations, everybody. We've reached roughly the 2-minute drill portion of this commencement speech. Here goes. Always be curious. My version of the ABC is curious people never stop growing. You want to be one of those people. A question is often more powerful than a sledgehammer in your toolkit. I tell ESPN I've worked at ESPN for I've worked at ESPN for 38 years, and I've never worked for the same company twice. The company has continued to evolve, often very rapidly, as have I, but sometimes not nearly as rapidly, in all honesty. So the message is simply this: the world evolves fast. You need to evolve faster. Work hard to see the world through other people's eyes. I guarantee you, you will navigate both personally and professionally much more effectively and with a lot less stress. I'm lucky. For me, that process begins at home. I'm married to a super smart, wonderfully sophisticated wife. I have 3 really vibrant, always curious daughters. I get to see the world through their eyes every day. They are a blessing to me. I love them very much for that and so much more. I once nicknamed a guy Life because he was 5'5" and failed to make the basketball team. Life's too short, I said, and I was right. Now, what does that mean for all of you? Simply this: every day you're above the ground. Work hard, get after it. Now, that could mean cranking on a work project that's really important to you, but it should also mean dancing like a victim of electroshock therapy gone horribly wrong while making breakfast for your children, and if the Spirit moves you, singing in a really weird voice, all just to hear the sound of a child's laughter. The nun at our church once told us, St. Francis urged his followers to go forth and preach the gospel and sometimes use words. Go forth, preach the gospel, sometimes use words. Now, I'm trained to fact check. I love that story so much I didn't bother to fact check it. Plus, why would a nun lie to me? I don't think she would. Humility. It's undefeated against arrogance, never lost. Optimism. Undefeated against pessimism. Bob Iger, the brilliant leader of the Walt Disney Company, says often, nobody follows a pessimist. One more. Patience always beats impatience. Here's where I must make a confession. I have no patience. Don't have any, wasn't born with it. Every day I have to relearn that trait, and I promise you it has never been wasted effort. We, always stronger than I. Magic Johnson once said, in life there is winning and there's losing, and you will experience both. The one thing that is unacceptable to me is quitting. Quitting should be unacceptable to you as well. Dr. Roth just said it a few minutes ago. When we launched the V Foundation for Cancer Research at the very first ESPYs back in 1993, Jim Valvano perhaps said it best. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. I think great words to live by. Define happiness in your life by something much more important than the title on your business card, the kind of car you drive, the kind of house you live in. John Lennon once said, when I was a boy, they asked me in school what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said, happy. They said, John, we don't think you understand the question. I said, I didn't think they understood life. There is a new group you are joining, a group of passionate and skilled individuals, and when you meet them, and you will find them everywhere, they will treat you instantly as a friend, give you the help you need, or at the very least, buy you a beer. That group will ask of you only two things: that you care for this place and its people as they do, and that you remember and live the values that you and they learned here. And one more, that you nurture the place from where you came. That group is the 32,000 alumni of St. Bonaventure University, and we need you now more than ever. We, this place, need your ideas, your passion, your energy, your skills, because it's important. As you prepare to leave here, it is very important that you, for the generations that will follow, that you never truly leave. Now, this whole weekend has been wonderful for me and my family, and all of it has been conducted to help you get ready to join that group. And as we begin to do so, I would like to ask all the folks on stage, please, to here stand with me. Please rise. All of you up in the reds to my right, please rise. All of you on the left, please rise. I'm going to ask all of you to stand. You guys, you don't stand. All of you who are standing, I would like to ask you to join me in a long and hearty ovation for a job well done by all of you and for the promise of what's to come for all of you, the St. Bonaventure University class of 2017.